Welcome to the Female Blueprint, where we break free from the boxes that life tries to put us in. I'm Dr. Courtney, pelvic floor physical therapist, investor, and founder of 360 Wellness. And here, we help you design a life that's unapologetically yours through real stories and unfiltered conversations on health, wellness, business, and living boldly as a woman. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the Female Blueprint. I'm your host, Dr. Courtney. Last episode, I took you through what it felt like to come out of my burnout, physically, emotionally, mentally, like literally everything. And today we're going to be talking about moving from like that survival mode into the building mode. We're going to be talking about your blueprint, the unique one that God gave you that guides your health, your work, your relationship, and just honestly like your identity and what it looks like to reclaim it in real life. So we're going to be breaking down what it really means to rebuild your blueprint, not just as a concept, but as a practical everyday process. If you've been listening to my episode so far, you know that the blueprint isn't one size fits all. It's not a plan that someone just hands you and says, hey, this is how you do life. It's something that you need to actively create by learning, educating yourself, advocating for yourself, and honestly asking the right questions. Because here's the thing, nobody hands you your blueprint at birth. Over time, we just develop our own blueprint based on what everybody else thinks around us. And as we get older, I feel like that changes because you're an adult and you have your own experiences from life, relationships, school, college, your career that honestly change how you think and believe. And over time, you're allowed to change those things. Everything we've been given through our life are pieces, right? Your family's belief, cultural norms, the way school shapes you, the expectations from your friends, from social media, from random people on the internet, mentors in your life. And somewhere along the line, that like pile of puzzle pieces becomes who you are. But finding your blueprint isn't about someone else telling you who you are. If you don't actively participate in creating your own life's framework, you'll end up living by someone else's framework. And most of us, without even realizing it, already are. So what I found is that you build your blueprint through moments, through learning, not just from books or podcasts, but from your own failures, from life experiences, from asking uncomfortable questions, from being in uncomfortable situations, and honestly, from sitting across the table from someone who challenges what you've always believed. It's in those moments that you start to ask, what's actually working for me? What's draining me? What's filling up my cup? And what do I want to keep? And what do I want to burn to the ground? So let's go through what reclaiming your blueprint looks like in real life. So here's a simple but powerful framework to start building your own. But let me remind you what I want you to get out of the most out of listening to this podcast is to listen to the stories, listen to people's perspectives, the different situations that they've been in through their life, their environment, and take what feels right to you and leave the rest. That's the point of rebuilding your blueprint, because from these different stories and experiences and education levels, like you get to decide if you like it and if you want to live by it and if you want to take it into your own life. Like no one's telling you on this podcast what you should or shouldn't do. It's just like, here's the information, take what you will. All right, so step one, learn intentionally. Start by actively learning, not just like random knowledge, like scrolling on Instagram. Be intentional and seek out information that's relevant to your unique story and your current season of life. You might feel overwhelmed by conflicting advice like certain diet fads, right? Productivity measures, biohacking, and wellness trends, what proper parenting should look like. Should you sleep 9 hours? How should you wake up in the morning? Should you drink caffeine? Like all of these random things. That's because so much of it wasn't made for you. Learning your blueprint literally means filtering out the noise, trusting your intuition to guide you towards the voices and the information that resonate really deeply inside of you and that actually make you feel seen and empowered in your decision-making process. It's about committing to your education, even when it means unlearning long-held beliefs that no longer serve you. And trust me, that's hard work. I had to do this and I'm still doing this. A lot of what I do now is like completely 180 from how my family operates and how I grew up. I had to do a lot of unlearning and relearning of what makes sense for me in my life now. And that is completely different, like I said, from how I grew up. But I love my life now. I have learned so much. I have countless mentors in my life, countless experiences that have shaped me who I am now. And because of all of those mentors and because of all those experiences that I've had so far in my life, I'm like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I didn't like that. Oh, I'm definitely not going to live my life that way. Right. And we make these associations based on our environmental factors. And that's the beauty of rewriting your blueprint because you get to decide what you want and what you don't want. I've grown so far out of my past and where I came from and the life that I lived like literally 15 years ago. And it's just crazy to me now that like there's so many people in my life that like knew me as like a teenager and it's like that was so long ago. Like you have no idea who I am now. And I actually love that. I love it so much because like I don't want to be the same person 15 years ago. And the things that I believed 15 years ago are like completely different than the things that I learned today or the things that I believe today. And I would not be where I am right now in business, in life, in my career, had I continued with the same mindset and had the same people around me every single day, didn't invest in myself and take a chance on my life, right? Going to college, going to grad school, moving across the country, meeting new people. Like all of the experiences that I have now are literally from a bunch of choices and experiences from other people's lives around me that I picked up on. And I'm like, I like that. I want to keep rolling with that. And then there's a lot of things where I'm like, I didn't like that. Definitely not going to do that. And I've educated myself to get me to where I am today. So, all I'm about to say, it's like I've learned and unlearned so many things to get me to where I want to be. And I think that's really important when it comes to rewriting the blueprint that you want to live your life by. Okay, step 2, educate yourself on your unique body and mind. Your body is constantly talking to you, sometimes softly in the smallest ways you're not going to recognize, and then sometimes in ways that's really overwhelming or confusing, like chronic back pain that won't stop, or your period's missing, or you have adult acne like I did. Like so many things are going to just confuse the crap out of you and it's overwhelming at times and like rightfully so. But also too often we get caught up in generic advice about our bodies that actually doesn't honor how complex and unique we really are. Because so obviously I'm a pelvic floor physical therapist. So this example is going to be very pelvic floor related, but like I'm sorry, just do Kegels, just take this medication or just rest, like is the least helpful advice out there and isn't one size fits all. And if your doctor literally tells you that every single time you go see them, what? Like how many of you heard that before? Learning your blueprint means tuning in deeply to those signals, not just what your body looks like, how much you weigh, what your doctor tells you, but literally how you feel day to day. Your energy levels, your mood swings, your pain levels, your digestion, your sleep quality, your skin issues, literally everything about you is unique to you, meaning your body needs a unique way to heal. And so when you learn what your body needs and wants and its day to day desires, you're going to learn what you should do to your body more than a random person in a white coat that sees you one time and tells you to just rest or just do Kegels. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. So paying attention to like the subtle rhythms of your cycle or noticing when your stress is starting to creep in and how it shows up for you personally, like day to day, like your personality, how much you can take on versus one day versus another, your fatigue levels one day versus another. Like that kind of listening is so important. And yes, obviously it takes time, it takes patience, it takes like being a detective to your own body. But like, listen, girl, like it is worth it because no one else can tell your story. Nobody knows your body like you do. So part of like rebuilding your blueprint is becoming your own expert and advocate. I'm not saying go back to medical school. That is not what I'm saying. But you get to ask the questions. You get to do the research. You get to know what's best for you or not. This is not because you have to know everything, but because you deserve to be heard, you deserve to be believed in, you deserve to be cared for and not be bullshitted by somebody in a white coat. And on that note, we're going right into step 3. We're going to advocate for ourselves. Listen, I know advocacy isn't easy. Like, it can be really, really uncomfortable, especially if you've been conditioned to listen to others first, put others first, and just like dismiss your own needs, or just listen to the status quo and like whatever somebody says or whatever video you watch, like that is fact, right? But learning to say no, to ask for what you truly need, to set boundaries that protect your energy and your time and your money, like that's uncomfortable. And that is really hard work, but it is so important for you. It looks like speaking up to a doctor who brushes off your symptoms, asking a boss or a coworker to respect your time, right? Quitting a job that, hello, me, that no longer serves you in a season of life, parenting in a style that makes sense for your family and nobody else, like not your parents, not your siblings, not your friends, just you, your family, saying no to a friend because you need time to reset, setting boundaries with your kids who talk back to you, or simply giving yourself permission to rest without guilt. All of these are really hard. All of these are self advocacy. This is the kind of advocacy that rewires your body, your nervous system. It rewires your entire life. It says, I matter. My health matters, my time matters, my energy matters, and nobody can take that away from me. And right into step 4 is asking challenging questions. I know for me personally, like sometimes I don't know what I don't know, and all of us do, right? Like sometimes I don't know what questions to ask. But that's the thing. If you don't know what questions to ask, whether it's a doctor, it's a friend, it's a coworker, it's a boss, like whoever you're talking to, and you want to challenge the situation and you're not sure what questions to ask, sometimes asking deeper or sometimes asking the person that you're talking to, why? Why do you say that? What do you mean by that? What do you think's going on? Challenging questions can help you understand deeper instead of just taking things at surface value, right? So if someone tells you, okay, you just need to rest, your next question would be, well, why do you think rest is important here? Like, wouldn't movement be a better solution? You can literally just challenge the question itself, which then gives you the opportunity to just be able to understand deeper instead of just being like, okay, I will rest because the doctor told me to rest. Okay, but why did the doctor tell you to rest? Why is it important to rest? Is there research behind that for this specific condition? Is there patient experiences that doctor has had before that has had drastic outcomes by rest? All you have to do is ask questions that start digging deeper to help you understand, am I going to take this advice or am I going to leave this advice? And then you get to make your own decisions for yourself because you're asking questions that help you in your mind decide if that's a good option for you. And also, when you start asking deeper questions, you know the uncomfortable ones, obviously, we always avoid, you crack open possibilities. Like, this is extra hard, honestly, for me, and something I'm dipping my toes still into. I'm not the greatest because for so long I feel like my voice was never heard when I was younger. Some questions that you can start by asking yourself are, what parts of life do I want to do? And what parts of life am I doing because I've been told I should be doing this? Where am I hiding my true fears of judgment or failure? Where am I holding back because I think I'm going to fail? What old stories about my worth are keeping me stuck in this situation? What does this say about me if I do this? These questions like don't come with easy answers either, right? Like they're hard questions. So be prepared for that when you get the answers to. But they do open the door for real awakening. And that, honestly, that's how you reclaim that blueprint. Okay, last but not least, step number 5, create space for reflection. Okay, we know that life is chaotic. And when life is going 100 miles per hour with your career, your kids, your family, spouse, etc., like it can feel impossible to pause and slow down and reflect. But what if I told you that you were conditioned to believe that you need to live a fast life? I don't know how many times I've heard from others outside of the US, like when I was traveling or like my patients that are outside of the US, like, you guys live like a really fast life in the US. Well, maybe because we have to. The American dream, right? But truly, like slowing down and reflection is the bridge between who you've been and who you want to become. It gives your brain literally time to process. It's literally how you make sense of what you're doing right now and where you want to go. It makes sense of your experiences and actually see your growth and correct yourself without like shame or judgment because only you get to reflect. Nobody else has to look at that, right? Nobody else is looking from the outside in. It's literally you versus you. And this is obviously going to look different for everyone. Like maybe it's journaling, or it's meditating, or it's like just going for a walk outside in nature. Like for me lately, it's been my little 5-minute journal every morning and night. I just love that. And my morning sunlight walk. Like whatever it is you choose, try to make it a non-negotiable because like this is the space of reflection that allows your blueprint to evolve organically because you get to make it and then you get to reflect on it and then you get to choose if you want it or not. Okay, I hope this was helpful because making your blueprint, like it's not a checklist either, like these are just like guidelines of things of how to start rewriting it. But honestly, your life blueprint is always evolving because there's always going to be transitions in life that are going to bring out a new part of you, right? Like, say you're evolving into motherhood, you're going to be a mom for the first time. Like, that is a huge transition that your blueprint is going to be rewritten because you're no longer this single person who's not taking care of another human being. And now you have a human being to take care of. Like, that is a whole nother blueprint. So give yourself grace when things don't look perfect or when you have to pivot. When shit hits the fan and you don't get a single waking moment to yourself or a moment to slow down, you can always go back to what you know is tried and true. And that is your blueprint. That's who you are. That's who you've built and who you want to be, not somebody else's, because somebody else isn't going to guide you through this new transition of life. So your blueprint is always evolving, which is amazing. That's the best part about life. You get to choose whatever you want to be. And honestly, when you hit that new transition, you get to change it again, which is so awesome. So we're going to recap. So reclaiming your blueprint means learning intentionally, listen to your own wants, your needs, your desires, your body, your mind, like listening to yourself, advocating for yourself, asking challenging questions, and being patient with your own process and reflection. I'm so happy you're here with me, friends. I cannot wait to share more about what's in store. This podcast, The Female Blueprint, is exactly for you. A space to listen, learn, reflect, and choose what fits your life and what doesn't. It should empower you to live boldly in your own design, and there's no pressure doing so. I'm honored to walk alongside you as we keep rewriting the rules and reclaiming what it means to live fully as a woman. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And make sure you share it with a woman who needs this message right now. There's only a few things that I'm going to ask on this podcast, and that is number one, make sure you share it with somebody who needs to hear it. See you on the next episode.